The movie starts with a woman named M talking on her phone while driving in the middle of the night, but she loses signal and hears glass breaking. She checks her phone and sees a crack on her phone screen without doing anything. Inside a house, a group of friends is preparing dinner. M enters the house with a bottle of wine. She quickly shares the incident about her phone screen randomly cracking while she's holding it and says it might be the effect of the comet, but the rest of the group brushes it off. A few moments later, the short-haired woman Beth brings out a vial of drug. She claims it will help take the edge off, but M says she's okay. Beth notices a small plant and asks what kind of plant it is. At that moment, the doorbell rings and Kevin arrives with a bearded man Hugh, who is Beth's husband. M and her boyfriend talk about their plans of the future, and Emma enters the room with a dark-haired Laurie, who is the ex-girlfriend of M's boyfriend. Hugh asks everyone if they have a signal on their phones at the dinner table. Everyone checks and confirms that they do not. M and Hugh share stories about comet phenomena in Finland and how the people living in that area experienced peculiar things. Laurie asks Mike what he does for a living, and he shares that he's an actor. But no one seems to remember seeing him being on a show. Laurie proceeds to ask M about her work, and M shares a story about a ballet show she created, but she didn't get the lead part because it took her too long to decide. After sharing this story, M was quiet. Mike seems upset about his friends not remembering him being on a TV show. We can see that nobody at the table is happy with their life. After a few minutes of talking, Hugh brings out his phone and sees his cracked screen, and M shares that it also happened to her phone and could be because of the comet passing. But everyone brushes it off once again. Hugh asks if the house has a landline or internet because his physicist brother told him to reach out if anything weird happens while the comet is passing, but they confirm that there's no signal or internet. Everyone tries to act cool, but there's a strange look of panic on everyone's faces. A few moments later, the lights go out and everyone panics. They all rush to find any source of light. They light the candles, and Amel puts boxes of glow sticks on the table, and everyone grabs a blue glow stick. Amir goes outside and says that the whole street is out of power, except for a single house which was 2 blocks away. The entire group steps out of the house to look at the only place with power, and they see the comet passing in the night sky. When they get back inside the house, they notice a broken glass on the table. Hugh suggests that he'll go over to the other house to ask if he can borrow their phone. Everyone disagrees, but Amir offers to go with him, so he won't be alone. While waiting for the 2 men to arrive, they all sit back down at the dinner table. Laurie asks M to share more information regarding comets to pass the time. Suddenly, a loud banging on the door disrupts their discussion. Kevin grabs a bat and checks the door, but no one is there. A short while later, the lights turn on and Mike comes out and says he powered up the generator. Everyone cheers, and Beth suggests that they go out and look for her husband and friend. Kevin checks the door and sees their 2 friends. When the 2 men enter, they quickly notice the scar on Hugh's head. Amir puts a metal box on the table and says that Hugh was holding it when they were outside, but Hugh says he wasn't. Amir tells the story of what happened while they were outside. Mike slowly opens the box. Inside are random items and their pictures with numbers written at the back. Suspense builds up as the group questions Hugh about what he saw outside. Hugh hesitates, but tells the group that he went to the other house's window and saw themselves having dinner. Nobody believes his bullshit. Amir adds that Hugh went to the side of the other house because nobody was answering the door, so he banged on the side door. The group remember when someone knocked on the door earlier and claims that Hugh just walked around the house. Frustrated, Hugh walks out of the room. At the table, M and Laurie inspect the photos they found inside the box. Hugh says he's going back to the other house. His wife Beth stops him, but he insists that he must make a call. In the kitchen, Beth tends to Hugh's scar and put a cloth band-aid on it. At the dinner table, M and the group are trying to figure out what the numbers behind their picture means. Amir grabs his picture and says that someone took a picture of him that same night because his sweater is new. Everyone tries to figure out how he didn't know someone took his picture when he is looking directly at the camera. Confused, the group leaves the dinner table. M and her boyfriend stay behind. M compares the numbers on the photos to her notes written with a red marker and sees that they're identical. The group comes back. Mike proposes to go over to the other house to confirm if their other selves are there, but the group disagrees. After a few discussions, M, Kevin, Laurie, and Mike decide to check out the other house. Outside, the whole street is dark and the only light they have is the blue glow sticks on their necks. While walking, Mike sees his house and goes over it. As they are going back, they come across 4 people with red glow sticks around their necks. Back at the house, the 4 people who went out earlier tell the others what they saw when they walked back to the house, but Beth tells them that that's impossible. Em shares that a part of the street was darker than the rest and Hugh and Amina say that they went through that. The group decides to do research, and Em asks for a book. In the corner, Hugh and Amina talk privately. Beth tells Hugh that his brother left a book which could be useful for help in this situation, and it's in the backseat of his car. He goes and comes back with the book. He opens it up and sees that it's his brother's research about multiple parallel worlds existing at the same time. The group discusses all possible scenarios they can encounter. Mike suggests they take the other house's book, but Hugh disagrees because they should avoid messing with the different worlds and wait for the comet to pass. As the group continues their discussion, Mike and Kevin go to a corner to prevent the other group from finding the other book. Mike suggests that he will blackmail his other self. Kevin tries to stop him, but he is determined. Back at the dinner table, the lead just woke up and says she felt off from the drops. Em asks Beth if she put drugs in their food. Everyone panics and starts questioning Beth, but she denies this and shows the bottle. The group starts asking if one of the side effects would be hallucinations, still not believing there are other versions of themselves out there. The group leaves the kitchen, except for Beth, the Lee, Em, and her boyfriend. Beth grabs the small plant and says it looks great. Em looks at them and remembers that this happened earlier, but this is the first time Beth sees the plant. In the dining room alone, Emil and Hugh bring out their red glow sticks. They take the box and everything inside it, but Mike enters from the front door. Kevin intercepts Mike and asks where he had been. Mike says he went to the other house. While the 2 guys are talking, Emil and Hugh rush out of the house. The group notices that Emil, Hugh, the box, and the books are all missing. They decide that someone has to look for their friends. Kevin volunteers, but Em blocks the door. Laurie watches the interaction with interest. The couple goes back to the group. Laurie suggests that the 2 men in the house could be the other version of their friends, and that they can't trust the other people from the other house, because they took their clues. The group disperses out of the room. Em asks Mike for a picture of her and her boyfriend, but he leaves to look for wine. When he comes back to Em, he hands her an envelope of photos. Kevin and Laurie are talking in the dark hallway. She subtly flirts with him and kisses him, but he backs away. However, at the other end of the hallway, Beth sees everything. Em is sitting at the dinner table, studying her notes in the other room. Beth sits down with her. After a few minutes, Em finds her boyfriend drinking and tells him that Beth told her she saw him and Laurie in the hallway. But right then, the power goes out. Everyone gathers at the table and lights the candles. They hear a loud sound outside the house. They see that one of the cars has a broken window. Em goes to her car and grabs a ring that her boyfriend got her. Em asks her boyfriend about the car's broken window, but he does not remember. They both realize that they are talking to different versions of each other. Em enters the house and sees everyone already there. The group tries to figure out the motive for breaking a car's window. Something is outside the house. Laurie checks the door and sees Amir and Hugh. Both men enter the house. Amir puts the missing book on the table while Hugh tells them what happened. And while he's telling the story, everyone tells him that they already know this. Everyone confirms their theory that the first 2 men that arrived earlier were not their friends, but the other people from the other house. Laurie points out the band-aid on Hugh's head, and the Lee notices that the band-aid on Hugh's head is a different one. Amir dismisses the idea and says they came from the house with red glow sticks and pulls out their blue ones. Therefore, the group confirms that they're their friends. Em mentions the note as everyone reconciles, but Hugh says the other house also ended up with 2 letters. They all realize that there is not just one other version of themselves, but multiple. As a solution, Em proposes that they should have a way to mark their own house, and Hugh agrees. They grab some dice to mark themselves with numbers. They each take photos of themselves to label them with numbers with corresponding items to put in a box. Amir has no picture, so they took a picture of him to put in the box. After they've all marked themselves with numbers using a dice, Em opens up her notes to compare the numbers. She's startled to see that her letters are now in green marker with different numbers. She looks up and sees that Hugh's phone is working, because earlier she wrote the same note using a red marker and Hugh's phone was cracked earlier during their dinner. She starts to wonder if she's in the right house. Kevin walks in. Someone knocks on the door and slips a note, and he grabs the note and reads it to Mike. They both remember their plan to blackmail the other version of Mike. Hugh grabs the note and reads it. It says that Mike slept with Hugh's wife, causing a fight between them. After the fight ends, Em and Mike stay in the room. The door opens, and another version of Mike with a green glow stick comes in, strangles Mike, and knocks him unconscious. After this, he runs out the door. Hearing the noise, the group comes back and sees Mike unconscious. While everyone is busy, Em slowly walks out the door. Outside, she walks down the street to peek through the different houses with different versions of themselves. Most are fighting amongst each other. She continues to search in the dark. After a few houses, she sees a version of their group just having fun and herself with her boyfriend on a couch together. Seeing this, Em feels hurt and extremely jealous of their happiness in a different world. After that, she walks toward the side of the house and finds a bat. She enters the kitchen door and steals Beth's drug vial. Inside the house, the other versions hear a loud glass-breaking noise. They all decide to go out to check. The other version of Em walks to her car and grabs the ring. But Em knocks her unconscious, using the vial of the drug she stole. She leaves her other self in the car and enters the house with the other versions of the friends. She then shows the ring to her boyfriend and he kisses her. Later, they go outside and watch the comet pass by. While the others are busy outside, Em sees the other version of herself enter the bathroom. She hits her on the head and knocks her out immediately. She then grabs the other girl's ring, puts it on her finger and wipes away the blood in the bathroom, leaving her original ring by the sink. However, when she returns to the room, she passes out. She wakes up later on the couch in the morning. She quickly checks the bathroom, but sees Beth has just finished showering without any trace of the hidden body. She goes out to the street, but her boyfriend follows her and returns the found ring. Right then, he gets a call and sees that it's Em calling him. Confused, but he still answers the call. The boyfriend realizes that the Em in front of him is not his familiar version of Em. In the end, as this group of friends have been brought across multiple worlds, they learn they should not mess with the universe's coherence, as this can have very permanent consequences. If you like the movie, please like and subscribe our channel. Thank you.